If America is a nation of immigrants, New York City has always been the hub and the symbol of that melting pot. It's not just echoes of Ellis Island or memories of tenement buildings past. Currently, 37% of New York City residents were born in another country. That's more than 3 million people. With politics consistently pushing immigration to the front of the news, students here at the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism took a look at real lives and stories of contemporary New York City immigrants. We present those stories to you now, the faces behind the statistics.
President Trump built a campaign around the promise to build the wall. He says the wall between the U.S. and Mexico
is a fraction of the kind of money in many different ways that Mexico takes in from the United States.
And one of those ways is Mexicans in this country sending money home. This cash, known as remittances, is no pocket change. Last year it totaled $27 billion. That's more than Mexico's total oil revenue. This is Benjamin.
Many people say like, oh, we are not against immigration, but we are against illegal immigration.
We want people to come in, but they've got to come in legally, right?
I didn't want to come here illegally, but I didn't have the money or the time. I did what I had to do.
Ben's reason for being here?
My mother was sick. Being able to like save money faster and help mother.
After several years of treatment, she succumbed to her illnesses.
My mom.
He had a promising government internship in Mexico, but he could not pay his mother's medical bills. His best option was a job in the U.S. A menial job here would pay more than he could make back home.
When you have to do something, especially for your family, you don't really look through all the laws. You just do what's best in the situation.
He faced a hard choice. He could go home for her funeral and start over professionally, or he could stay here and ensure a better quality of life for his family still in Mexico. His disabled father, his younger brother, his older sister, and her children all depend on him.
Sometimes people do illegal things because they are being forced to, or they have to, not because they want, not because they want more wealth, because they don't have anything.
Former President Barack Obama says Trump's proposal to use remittances is impractical. But Benjamin disagrees.
The question is like how easy that it'll be. I think it'll be pretty easy.
Most remittances are sent with wire transfer services based in the U.S.
Besides that, they told you I pay taxes. The IRS know me. No, it's not fair. I don't know. If they want to do it, they'll do it.
As the issue of the wall continues to be debated, Benjamin will do tomorrow what he did today. He'll keep working, and he'll keep sending money home.
Something you have to deal with it. Life doesn't work your way, so you have to work with what you have.
Yeah, I lied a lot when I was here first. I had to lie to my employers. I didn't really know my co-workers very well, so I would lie to them. Even girls that I would date, I'm like, I'm just going to lie.
Deception quickly becomes a way of life for people who live in the U.S. without proper authorization.
I'm an Irish guy, 32 years of age, came here on a tourist visa and overstayed, and hence became, I don't know what the word is, I always just call it an illegal immigrant.
Contrary to popular belief, most undocumented immigrants now come to the U.S. legally on temporary visas. Visa overstays have outnumbered illegal border crossings every year since 2007. And by 2014, overstays made up 42% of all undocumented immigrants. Dermot was supposed to leave the U.S. after 90 days. He's now lived here for 7.5 years, picking up work wherever he can.
I was doing all those like food-related jobs, a farmer's market job, moving a bit of furniture, just the classic immigrant things.
The Department of Homeland Security estimates that more than 2,000 Irish citizens overstayed visas in 2015. But the most overstays that year hailed from Canada, followed by Mexico. Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom also made the top 10. Mexico is still the leader in total visa overstays currently living in the U.S., but the data shows that plenty of individuals from non-Latin American countries are also here illegally.
No one says that those Irish guys are coming in taking our jobs. No one's saying we need to stop Irish people at the airport and examine them more.
Like most visa overstays, Dermot traveled to the U.S. in the comfort of a plane. His experience highlights the difference that economics can make when emigrating to the U.S.
I think people who can afford it would have preferred to come in with visas on a plane, and those who can't had to cross the border walking.
Regardless of how they get here, both groups of undocumented immigrants face many common challenges.
Looking for work is difficult because in either situation you don't have the proper authorization to be working. You can't open up a bank account and get a driver's license and do things that we expect people to do in the society.
Dermot was undocumented from 2009 to 2011, but he admits that he had it pretty easy.
There was never really that much of a struggle. I got my green card in less than 2 years. I didn't go looking for it, you know? It just kind of fell into my lap.
He says he married a neighbor, which qualified him for a green card. And because he entered the country legally, he was favored by the law.
If you did come in with a visa, the fact that you fell out of status won't impede you from getting your legal permanent residency. But almost every other category, it's a stop right there.
Today, Dermot's a chef. And he says that no matter the challenges, people like him will keep on coming.
I've met tons of people, not from Latin America, who were in exactly the same position as me. Now, people are still moving here now.
People all the time told me in my past that you are nothing, or you are you still drawing like kid, or you choose some kind of strange colors. It still hurts and make me sometimes crying, and all the time I think why in the place where I was born, people don't appreciate us like Russians sometimes don't appreciate the Russians people. I have kind of feeling that my life's somewhere. I really have feeling that I was born in not the spot what I want. 2 years ago I was opening my email and I saw one gallery in New York was asked me for, do you want to share your art with us, and do you want to go on your exhibition, we can create it. And it was that's enough for me. It doesn't matter how hard it's gonna be, I just take my art and go. Only strong people can immigrate. If you're just alone in the city, you go insane. I still think that, oh my gosh, how I'm living right here 1 year without my family. This is the most hardest thing for me.
I found Anna on the Instagram, and I decided to write her and ask her, do you live in New York? Because I really like your style, that colors what she did. And I just wrote her, do you teach somebody? Do you give classes? That classes what I got for drawings gave me a lot of good vision how to make my art better.
My lawyer, when she looked at my art, she was like, Anna, of course you have to go on extraordinary visa, and of course you have to have great exhibitions right here, but you're gonna work. You have to have proof to the people, to their police governments and everybody that you deserve it. First of all, prove yourself.
I already put my art on the walls.
1 year and 5 exhibitions already. I heard that something is ringing. I was taking my phone and I was just looking at my lawyer, and she was like, Anna, congratulations, you have your first documents. I was like, what? I wasn't expect that it's gonna happen, the dream come true. Right now, every doors are open for me just because I'm legal. Of course I'm gonna do something bigger. Of course I'm gonna find bigger galleries. Just, do the same. Painting for people.
Of course, these stories have replayed themselves in different versions throughout New York City's history, and it is indeed a living history as our past reverberates today.
My name is Ronald Ritzy, and I am a Morristown born and raised artist. My father introduced me to my first paintings, my first set of paints. It was very influential in cultivating my art and giving me the nurturing that I needed. He never got to see any of my later works because he had lost his sight to glaucoma. That compelled me to do the three-dimensional work. My immigration series is just a series that I am very proud of because it's relevant and it explains the things that are going on in this country concerning immigration.
The artwork that struck me the most was the waiting game, and that's because I saw the visual of the population that I work with, the immigrants. We really don't know who these individuals are, and sometimes they're all lumped into one group.
This inspiration for the immigration series was I read in the paper that the mayor at the time was issuing citations to different immigrants that's sitting out looking for day work, and he was going to deputize the police officers to be immigration officers. You know, here these people are just looking for work and trying to feed their families, and here they're going to be arrested during the day, and their families don't know whether they're going to come home or not. It was a very large period of our African American history where we were day laborers. So I saw a lot of correlations between African American migration and the immigration of Latino Americans. As you look at the paintings, they were actually the colors of Latino countries' flags. So you're seeing a lot of the red, white, blue, green, sky blues, yellows. All those flags were flags that's actually symbolize the colors of the American flag, actually. And if we switch around these colors on the flag, it would always come out to red, white,
and blue. New York City is seen as the melting pot of America, but immigration to New York has ebbed and flowed over time, based on forces in Washington and across the globe.
Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
One of the first groups to find sanctuary in New York were the Irish, who arrived in the 1850s fleeing famine in their country. By the 1880s, advances in steam power allowed for easier passage across the Atlantic, accelerating the flow of immigrants from Ireland, Britain, Germany, and Scandinavia. In 1892, Ellis Island opened and quickly became the nation's busiest immigration inspection station. Immigrants poured in from all across Europe, including Russia, Poland, and Italy. They crowded into cramped and unsanitary tenements across Manhattan. An 1894 survey by the State Assembly called New York the most densely populated city in the world. But as more immigrants arrived, so too did Americans' fear of foreigners. The immigration law of 1924 limited the number that arrived from any country to 2% of the population already living in the U.S. This policy seems balanced, but it was designed to favor Europeans who had already settled in large numbers. The law also outright banned all Arab and Asian migrants. As World War II approached, Americans' wariness of immigrants grew even more. Jews seeking refuge in the States from Hitler were turned away after their quota was reached. It was not until 1948, 3 years after the war ended, that the Displaced Persons Act allowed some 200,000 Europeans to escape the ravaged continent. With the passing of the Hart-Celler Act of 1965, America put an end to its restrictive quota system. Preference was given to reuniting immigrants with their families and bringing skilled labor into the country. Immediately, immigrants from across Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean began to settle in New York and around the country. The next several decades continued this welcoming spirit, but after 9/11, the Department of Homeland Security was created to enforce immigration law and tighten America's borders, which leads us to immigration policy today. Anti-immigrant rhetoric helped elect Donald Trump as president of the U.S. His proposed ban of people from 6 Muslim countries has critics concerned that the golden door to America may soon be shut.
Every generation of immigrants has had its own stories of struggles, and with the current political environment shining a renewed light on immigrant communities, that is as true today as ever.
Immigration is not a recent phenomenon. Maybe they want to make it a political phenomenon, but migration is a most ancient human activity.
Since President Trump's executive orders on immigration, parts of the country have been on edge. The media continues to cover stories on Latino communities struggling to deal with this new reality. But one community has gone largely unnoticed: the Senegalese. On Sunday, March 5th, 135 Senegalese citizens were deported back to their home country after immigration enforcement deemed them ineligible to remain in the U.S.
Usually, once in a while you hear that one person has been deported after years of litigation, and that we know. But suddenly, 135.
According to ICE, these individuals were deported after months of coordination with Senegalese officials. However, there was little warning, and the event mostly went uncovered.
Personally, I think that something needed to be done before they were deported. To explain who these people were, why they were deported, is it something that we should expect happening again?
Neither immigration enforcement nor the Senegalese consulate were willing to comment for this story.
I don't think it's sustainable for anybody to live in that state of panic, constant panic of, thinking that, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So it's tiring. Who can do that? Nobody.
In response to the deportations and community fears, the Senegalese Association in Harlem held a panel discussion.
The mayor and the police commissioner have made it very clear that the police department is not going to suddenly turn into a bunch of immigration agents.
Immigration Customs Enforcement has really free rein, according to this new policy, to arrest and initiate deportation proceedings against any individual who they suspect is here without an immigration status. This is a big deal. It's your life of your children. It's your well-being in the United States. You need to make sure that you have somebody who's fighting for you.
It's very refreshing, I believe, in these moments to live in New York, because New York is a very special city. There are New Yorkers that are coming out protesting for you. The mayor is standing up for you. It's refreshing, it helps, but then again, you still have to wake up every day and make it happen for yourself.
It's in America that I've discovered Polish food or Turkish music, or even some Africans, Ghanaians in the church in Harlem, things like that. That makes the beauty of immigration in America. So please don't. It's power. It's more power. If you lose it, I think America will lose its own soul.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Imam Alauddin Akonji immigrated to New York from Bangladesh in 2011 when his daughter sponsored him. A year later, he brought his wife, 4 sons, and another daughter to America. He worked as an imam at Al Furqan Jame Mosque in Ocean Park. He was a well-respected figure in the city, and all was well until August 13, 2016. Around 2 in the afternoon, Akonji and his assistant, Thara Miha, dressed in their religious garb, were returning home from the afternoon prayer. As they reached Liberty Avenue and 79th Street, they were shot from behind by someone they had never met. Both men died.
He never gave any people like any heart.
22-year-old Naeem is convinced his father was killed because he was Muslim.
He always loves all the people. He Muslim, you Hindu, or some other Christian, Buddhist. He always talks, anybody in front of him, he talks nicely with smiley face.
The breaking news, she's live in
The killing got a lot of media attention. The accused, Oscar Morel, is charged with murder and criminal possession of a weapon, but not a hate crime. And the Muslim community was outraged.
If it is not hate crime, why he killed nice people?
Lately, there has been an increase in hate crimes targeting Muslim Americans nationwide. Last November, an FBI report showed there was a 67% increase in 2015 over the year before. The statistics of New York are even more dramatic. The NYPD in the past year, anti-Muslim crimes have doubled. It is not only Muslim men who are targeted. Women wearing a hijab are reporting harassment.
It's been happening to a lot of women, and it happens every single day.
A student at Queen's College and a Muslim activist, Sahareen Azim, blames the increase on the election of Donald Trump.
I never thought that we would elect a guy who spews hate out of his mouth for so many minority communities and groups.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks hate crimes, blames Trump's campaign for the surge in anti-Muslim attacks.
No choice.
According to the center, there are 3 times as many anti-Muslim hate groups as there were a year ago.
I think the highest office of the country is not leading in a total democratic way.
Kabir Chaudhary is the president of Masjid Al-Aman Mosque in Brooklyn. Kabir says hate has to be dismantled with love.
I try to make a statement every time I'm out there. I do look like a Muslim person, based on my attire, my beard, and whatever. But some people may give me a look, but I try to impress them, approach them positively, and maybe have a conversation, and you'll be surprised things change dramatically.
Naeem's family is still coping with the loss of his father. Since his death, they are having lots of financial hardship.
He wanted to send me to the Islamic University to finish my level. But right now, I don't have this.
For Naeem, the wounds are still raw, but he hopes that nobody has to have same fate as his father, and that anti-Muslim attitudes fade away.
Immigrant is often a catch-all term, but refugees, the undocumented, and green card holders all have very different legal statuses. For all the stories of hardship in navigating these complicated laws, there are stories of help as well.
New York's immigrants are worried. President Trump is ramping up deportations, and these protesters are vulnerable.
Que el Alto está despierto, que el Alto está aquí y el Alto va a luchar para los derechos humanos de todos nosotros aquí en este país.
Mirna, who came here 2 years ago from Mexico, has 2 daughters. They're terrified that they'll have to leave their home here.
No quiero pensar en ese día. En mi mente hay solamente una cosa de proteger a mis hijas.
And in this city, which calls itself a sanctuary city, there are more and more people who want to help. Nonprofits like the Northern Manhattan Immigration Coalition provide services to the undocumented. The demand for aid is greater than ever.
Can I take this one, Maria?
Para la residencia.
Okay.
So the city has increased free legal aid to unauthorized migrants.
¿Necesita ayuda, mi amor?
Sort of the moment and the climate that we're in, we have been looking at sort of what community needs are and what the most important thing is to do in response to some expanded federal policies around deportation prioritization and an increase in fear and concern of communities.
So immigrant rights activists have been looking to City Hall for help. The mayor's office is planning to spend over $30 million in the newest budget towards free legal aid for the undocumented. But not everyone is satisfied with the amount or the fact that the city only helps people threatened with deportation. What that means for people like Mirna, who came here illegally but are not currently facing deportation, may not benefit from these funds.
And there's no free legal services really available for people doing kind of affirmative, I came here at this point, I have this situation going on, or I'm married to this person, or I have a child that is this. There's only the private bar to go through. And that can be prohibitively expensive.
For Mirna, all of this boils down to one thing.
Para que nuestras descendientes no deban vivir lo mismo que estamos viviendo nosotros.
New York is the epitome of a world city. With its more than 3 million immigrant residents, it has more than any other city in the world. Behind the numbers, the politics, and the rhetoric, each one has a story. From the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism, I'm Paul Lin for CUNY TV.